thank you for being here. And welcome everybody to the BioTalk Magazine. We're very excited to be back. So, with the growing competition in the bioengineering space, whether it is academia or the industry, it is important to have a very interdisciplinary profile nowadays. You want an engineer who can also innovate like a scientist, program like a coder, think like a businessman, and the list goes on. So, I found the perfect person to talk to about this. So today we have Pranav, who completed his engineering at NITK in mechanical engineering and recently graduated from UC San Diego with a master's in bioengineering. He's a very close friend of mine and a very inspiring engineer I met in grad school. So I'll let him start with introducing himself. Pranav, can you give us a little background of your academic journey?
Sure, Deepakshi. I till 12th I did physics, chemistry, maths, and bio. That's in 11th and 12th. And after that, I thought to do biomedical engineering in India, but I wasn't sure about the scope of that. So I took up mechanical engineering as a base, and I did 4 years of undergrad in that field. And after that, I did a direct master's in bioengineering. So during that time, during my master's, I kind of focused on a field which has a little bit of mechanical engineering as well as biology to it. It's called biomechanics. So yeah, I did research in that field for about 2 years now, and currently I'm working as a mechanical design engineer at a medical device company.
That's great. That's great. So your journey is actually a little unconventional, going from mechanical to bioengineering. How did grad school, especially at UCSD, help you define your niche, like you said in biomechanics? Like, can you tell us a little bit about your research?
So I know it's a little bit unconventional, and it was a little unconventional when I was trying to think about it as well. Initially, of course, in 12th grade, I was thinking of becoming a doctor, and not in 12th, sorry, in 10th grade, when you have to make that decision between science and commerce. I
Mhm.
was thinking of initially becoming a doctor, and then from there it went to biomedical engineering, so engineer. And after that, I was thinking of getting into prosthetics. So because of that, I wanted to choose biomechanics as a base.
Okay.
So that's how biomechanics came into the picture.
Hmm. And then, can you tell us a little bit about your research in grad school?
So my research mainly involved knowing about the functions of muscles and how they play together to produce movement.
Mm-hmm.
So for to like to have justice to that, we I kind of worked on creating a biomechanical three-dimensional model of a rodent known as jerboa. They're similar to mice, but they jump at great heights and they're pretty athletic. So my research revolved around making a full model for that animal, and then trying to from the mechanical side of things, I was extrapolating like moment arms and trying to find out forces to understand what muscle contributes, like how much force and what type of movement it helps with.
Right. And so, actually, this leads me to my next question. How difficult was it for you to transition from, mechanical to a bioengineering course and adapting with like the new coursework and your cohort, which was kind of a mix of, like, in fact, it was more towards like the biology side. Was it difficult for you to like learn those courses? And how was it like applying that to your research?
Yeah, so to be very honest, there were a few courses which were quite challenging. For
Mm-hmm.
example, biochemistry or something. So right now I don't deal with any sort of biochemistry in my job or nor in my research.
Right.
But the learning part of it was also pretty fun, and because of people like you and other friends, you guys kind of taught me what you guys were learning for the past 4 years. So that was it was easier to learn uh, like that. And for some other courses, like for example, if you take tissue engineering,
Mm-hmm.
I tried to find what I kind of like. So something about like we did a project together, and on that project I kind of stuck to the design part of it. So it's not something that I apply to my day-to-day job or whatever, but it's something that I found interesting in that project, and I stuck with that. So uh, I mean, the whole point of doing these courses is of course for graduation. So we can't avoid these courses, but it's not bad learning something new, and it's always helpful in the future
Yeah.
So right now in this medical device company, we are dealing with a drug, and now now that I know a little bit about biochemistry, I kind of understand a little bit about how the drug was manufactured, for
Right.
example.
Yeah.
And maybe I get to know a little bit about process control parameters or something like that.
Mhm.
And then that translates to like knowing if that drug is even as potent as it should be, what like stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah.
That's actually a like a quick note to our audience who's listening to this. So even if you're doing like an undergrad in a field that is not hardcore biology, you can always transition to a master's in something as broad as bioengineering and then define your niche like Pranav did. So getting back to you, Pranav, you're currently working, like you said, as a mechanical design engineering in a med device company. So, can you tell us more about what are the expectations from a role like this, like just generally, and how can students prepare themselves better for this?
Like, currently in a startup, what happens is you get to juggle a lot of things. You're pretty much involved with a lot more than just mechanical design engineering.
Mm-hmm.
You're a lot more involved in manufacturing as well. So whatever I say is specifically in terms of like smaller company startups, or if you're handling multiple things. So for me, my day-to-day life looks like, for a project I had to design something, so I did the design of that, and right now I'm trying to make a mold of it. So I've gone into the manufacturing side of it, and I'm learning a lot about the manufacturing processes as well
Right.
involved with it.
So,
So typical.
Pranav, so I'm just going to stop you here and let me reframe this question better. So, what are like maybe three skills or softwares or yeah, any technique that you think is relevant to pursue a role like yours?
So for a mechanical design engineer, I think the three biggest softwares might be uh, SolidWorks for sure.
Right.
And honestly, depending on the application of it, a few companies require you to know a little bit more conventional design software such as CATIA.
Mm-hmm.
So, but SolidWorks is the software that most of the companies are, in my knowledge, are using, and CATIA is like a software that a few of the aircraft manufacturers and like some people in the aerospace industry and some in the military, I know that they're using these conventional softwares, but SolidWorks, CATIA, and
Right.
after that, maybe knowing some sort of mechanical simulation software like ANSYS or Abacus is also
Mm-hmm.
an added benefit. And apart from that, I think just knowing CAD, but
Mm-hmm.
CAD is a subject as well as there are CAD software. So it's pretty much if you know multiple CAD softwares, you can get exposed to even more CAD softwares because you just know how one works. That's good enough to know how to use the rest. So
Right.
yeah, but to summarize it, mainly SolidWorks, CATIA, and some mechanical simulation software like ANSYS or Abacus.
Got it, got it. Yeah, that sounds good. So, moving on, a lot of our readers are students who are currently in their undergraduate or pursuing masters. What advice would you give them to face, this extremely competitive market that we have right now? One thing that we are trying to focus on is like trying to be more interdisciplinary instead of like having just one very, very particular niche. Uh, is there anything you would like to add to this?
Yeah, so the route that you guys are taking is definitely important
Mm-hmm.
because like for right now, I did biomechanics. My research was in biomechanics, but it was a little difficult to secure a job in that field due to a lot of other reasons, which is not in our control. But um, even if you stick to a niche field, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you need to network a little bit more with people in that field to get an idea of what they did or what their journey has been, so that that helps. It would help you also grow. And if you, like, because I found a few people who are doing very similar things in Europe, like some of my friends very randomly, and now I know kind of like a path they're taking, which also gives me a lot of other insights on where to go. But for sure, it's important to just broaden that skill set, which it will. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then after that, wherever the river takes you, just be
Yeah.
with the river.
Right. So I guess to summarize, it would be uh maybe like just broaden your skill set, network, and
Network.
yeah,
Yeah.
These two things are the key. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Pranav, for doing this, especially at such short notice. And I'm sure our readers and our viewers are really enjoying this and have benefited from this conversation. And I'm sure like you will have a lot of these students reaching out to you for some information. So we would love if you could guide them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dipakshi.